Ready to go. Everything's streaming, so you can see what I use to stream. Of course, it's not going to Twitch. Classic. All right, we'll give it a few. I mean, you know the drill. Just wait for people to come in. I don't know how to explain to you. You're the godfather of all this.
I don't have my ring on, so nobody can kiss
I know. Oh, man. See what I use. I'm going to hear myself twice. All right. We're in this. Alex Sturm, what up? Waiting for a couple of people to come in, and then we'll get it started. Got the list good. How's the sound? Pooch, do you mind saying something?
What's up, brother?
Woo!
Alex Sturm coming at me on Twitter.
I kind of need you to do your intro. Say everybody's name. I don't have the same.
I can't see anybody that's in here. That's the one thing.
Oh, you kicked because I'm screen sharing with you. Well,
you just tell me I'll just start screaming as loud as
I'll just alley-oop it to you. Be like the Nets next year. All right, let's run it. We got 30 people on. It'll probably move up as we go. Sounds good. Doug, sorry about the wait there. Just getting everything set up. Want to make sure this sounds good.
What's up, Doug?
Let's do this. Everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Basketball and More with Matt Brooks. I am absolutely thrilled to have this guest on here. My guy, Anthony Puccio. How you doing? How we feeling? You excited to get into some Nets jerseys?
Listen, brother, you know I love to talk Nets jerseys, and you know, just don't get me started with Bed-Stuy, all right? Or else I'm going to lose my mind. Don't disrespect anyone that's out in Bed-Stuy, all right?
You're telling me
team doesn't play there.
You're not a fan of the Bed-Stuy Nets, huh?
Nah, I'm waiting for one of these, baby.
We both got Flatbush and Atlantic merch on. Had to throw one up for the guys. But, yeah, man, want to get into this a little bit. Had to bring you on because you are, of course, the historian of this net stuff. I'm just a big phony from California, so.
It certainly looks like it.
You like this? The flow coming in? It's
always going, baby.
It's
Cali
bad.
Surfer.
I'm in that in-between phase where it's like it's not over the it's like just getting over the ears. It's way too long in the front. It's really an awful look right now. You're looking clean, bro. I'm like,
yeah, I had to get cleaned up yesterday to make sure I was coming on here ready, you know what I mean?
Appreciate
2
that.
months, the longest time I ever went without a haircut.
Yeah, this is I would say that, but that's definitely not true. That's my inner Californian. I've had my my hair down to here, so
I'm getting curly sideburns, bro. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You could do it. You could do it. You got the Cali look.
You know,
I don't have the Cali look. I just thought, you know, I might start looking like the white Jared Allen.
That's what this broadcast should be. Just 2 hours of hair talk. That should be. We just rank hair.
What product do you use?
None. This is just
that's
thick
free
hair.
fall?
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Just good vitamin D, sun. You know, that's about it.
That Cali salt water, right?
I'll be trying to keep an eye on Chad just to let everybody know. And then for everybody that will be listening to this in audio form on this podcast version of this stream, I hope it comes through. I'm going to try to describe these jerseys as best as possible. But I would honestly strongly recommend that you go back and watch this stream if you are, of course, hearing this as a podcast because this is pretty visual. So let's get into this. I went all the way back to 1967. And we're running it all the way to maybe the jerseys that we'll see this year. We'll see. I've got them all in order of when they happened. So we'll start right here. And by the way, we are ranking this A+, A, B, C, D, and F. I know you're probably thinking in your head, Matt, did you even go to school? That is not how the grade system works. Look, man, I just wanted to have an A+ because I think you want to shoot for the stars and then everything else. We'll see how it fills out and how this tier list looks. But, yeah, we'll be rating these on that scale. And then, from there, just see which ones we like. We'll see if we like the throwbacks, the modern-day stuff, and we'll run it from there. So, first thing we got, 1967 jersey. I will zoom in on this for you guys a little bit. It's, like, way, way old. New jersey on the front, red, blue print, I guess. What do you think of this? Do you like this at all? Because I'm going to give you my thoughts right after. This is way old, by the way. They had this for 1 year.
That had to have been what, like the 60s T-neck days?
Yeah, like way, way old.
The Long Island? Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're horrible. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I think that when they moved back to Jersey, I think they obviously made some improvements on them, and the second red jersey was better. But those, not a huge fan.
I'm throwing them as
Definitely
a
not in my
D.
A plus. Yeah,
I think they're a
we got
D.
like a 2.0 GPA on that
Yeah.
one. Next marketers in Jersey.
That looks like me in my harder college classes. I'm gonna tell you right now. Just throwing D's on it. Let's second one we got right here is this Nets jersey. I'm gonna see if I can pop it up a little bit bigger for you. You got this clean like cursive print, all white. They had a couple of different versions of these, but this right here is really the first like memorable jersey that you see. It's right before they got Dr. J, so there's like a version that comes out after that kind of looks similar to these from the 80s. These were worn from 1968 to 1972. I'm going to tell you right now, these are a huge step up from those first jerseys. I'm just going to say that off the bat.
Yeah. I like that they say Nets, and I think we could appreciate that a little bit more since they moved to Brooklyn and only have had 2 jerseys that say Nets on them. But I think these are clean. Like I personally like off-white clothing. The new Rams jerseys in football, I think, are horrible, but
yeah,
the Nets, I think these work. Like you said, like it was a nice preview for the Dr. J days. I kind of see. I think Rick Barry was wearing these, so these are really like the OG Nets jerseys.
Yep.
Big fan, but still not in the A plus category for me personally.
You got them in a B?
I put them in a B.
Okay, I can do that. I think I can do a B. I could do a B. They might even be an A, but they're a little bit.
The latter, for me.
I think I might put them in a A, and we'll move them down after. If
all right, fair enough.
We'll be conservative with it because I don't want it to be like 1 A plus 1 A and then a whole bunch because there's some ones in the middle where I'm like I don't know about this. Yeah. Next one we got is another 1972-1981. This was actually when they got Dr. J. I will pull it up right here. It's this one. If I can zoom in a little bit for you. We got 3 of those from that era. Hold up just a second. Of course. Give me just a second. I think we're cutting out. All right. Sorry about that. Brief little technical difficulty. So we have these 3 jerseys right here. The white ones, the blue ones, which I believe are the away jerseys. They say New York on them. And then when they moved to New York, they have a 1990, I think it's 1972 is when they moved. No, it's 77 when they moved to Jersey to the Coliseum. So that's this version on the far right. But we'll do these white ones first. Really the first like marketable. It's when they won their championship. Really, like to me, like a really marketable jersey. You see that, you think of Dr. J, the long arms, the sweeping hooks. That's my dad's favorite player ever. So I had to give him a little bit of a shout out. And I don't know, these jerseys just because of the memorability I think is big. But I'm interested to see what you think of the design and that combined because I think I
think these are the best Nets jerseys ever, and it's not nostalgia talking or anything like that. I think these are the best jerseys by far, and I think obviously like you bring Dr. J up. The only 2 championships that the Nets have were in these jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
The stars down the sideline, the color scheme, the red, white, and blue, so clean. But I actually think like with these, they kind of signify like the ABA generation, like the image, like you said, of Dr. J with the red, white, and blue ball, the red, white, and blue jerseys with the stars on the side. Like I think they represent so much more than just the Nets. Like they kind of symbolize those times as a whole. And it kind of stinks for the Nets that they don't embrace the 2 championships that they won because they were in the ABA. But I mean, between nostalgia and just honestly cleanest looking with the stars on the side, the red, white, and blue, I don't think you get any better than that. And I do like the little new jersey on the red stripe for the away jerseys. I think that's pretty cool. Like,
oh yeah,
it's subtle, but you could see it. Like it's a nice look.
I would say like, so there's these 3 that you're looking at, the white, the New York blue, and then the Nets. I like anything that says Nets. New York throws me off. I know that that's actually what they won a championship in was, I guess, at the time of those blues. But
yeah.
I'm personally like, I want to keep the branding consistent. I'm like, no, New York is going to throw me off. It'll throw your average person off. You're like, what the hell is that? The New York Nets?
Yeah. So, I think they're so clean, man. I think, and just again, so many good memories, I think, for so many people too that were around and actually Nets fans at the time.
Yep.
To the Coliseum.
Right.
It's away from me. So I say best Nets jerseys in history. My personal input, A plus. I don't know about you. I'm going with an A plus.
For the white ones or for the blue as well?
Both, baby. Both.
Oh man. Okay, I can do that. What do you want to even do for the New York ones?
Yeah, man. I think.
Man, you're all in.
All in on these, bro. I think the Nets fan base would agree. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm wrong. We'll let them decide.
We'll let in the chat decide. But I mean, I think you do have to. Somebody's commenting on the yellow ones already. What's up, John?
No.
We'll get to those. After that, so I think I can agree with you. I'm also going to trust you on this. You definitely have the perspective, the back of Nets fans. So I'm going to trust your judgment on this. We'll see if we get any other ideas in the chat. But
it means a lot.
That's why I brought you on, carrying the team here. So we're going to do the next couple of ones. We have these that look, you'll see it right here. They look really, really similar to the ones that the second ones we placed down in that A category. They look a little gray in this picture. Normally, they should be more of a white. I don't know if that's like a slight variant from one year. You do have the Michael Ray Richardson jersey, which is maybe not the best pick for that one. But, these are from 1981 to 1983, just looking at the Nets' very helpful website on this one. I actually really like these in terms of this variant. I might even want to switch them with the ones that we have at the A. Personally, I know it's not like a storied period of time for the Nets. I think they went to the first round twice, and I believe, and I think they lost both times. So it's not like memorable Nets history, but aesthetically, I like these a little better. I'm not sure if you feel the same way. We'll zoom in on these.
I don't really like what like the S does, like the cursive S and then that line. Like it kind of, I feel like gets a little too close to the numbers. I think they're nice jerseys. Like they're not horrible, not putrid, but I'm not the biggest fan. Maybe it's also because like the nostalgia factor doesn't really kick in for me. I'm not really sure what they're doing with the shorts either. Like the N and the J, like kind of just floating in the
alphabet on this jersey.
I mean, again, I don't think they're too bad, but maybe a C, like teachers.
Oh wow! All right, C.
A participation award, kind of thing, like.
Well, these are from the same years as the ones that are right next to them, the New Jersey Blues.
Oh God, those are ugly. Oh my
those
God.
are terrible. I'm gonna say right now, those are terrible.
Who designed those?
Those are bad. See, I have a thing with jerseys that are the print is way too big.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's like they're right on top of the numbers. I mean, I would at least move the numbers down or just not even put them on the front to begin with. I don't know.
Where would you put those?
Those the New Jersey ones in strip? Those might get the F category. those you're failing the class. You didn't show up. You didn't do any work. You didn't take the test.
They're pretty bad. All right, let's put them in an F so we can get something down there.
What do you think?
I think they're bad. I just don't know why space was so hard. I mean, it makes sense for the era that they didn't understand anything about spacing. That just goes right in line with everything pre-3-point line. But it's pretty bad. I at least kind of dig these. I don't the letters and everything like that. I don't know what's going on. It looks like a total mess. I do like the trim. I don't feel like you see that with jerseys anymore, where it's like the trim at the waistline and then the trim around where the legs come out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there with the red line in between the blue.
But that's all I can give them. And I wish I had a white version because maybe they'd look better. I don't know. The difference between these two is just really that the one the spacing, I guess, on these. But then just I don't know, like the difference between the red and the blue. These are a little more subtle. The red pop a little bit more. So I'm thinking if you're going to bring these back with Kyrie and KD, which is kind of honestly the point of doing all this, I want to toss out some ideas, see who looks at it. You never know.
I don't think they're taking these back, brother.
I don't think so. We'll throw them at a C. We're getting into some good ones. We're getting into some really good ones. These next three right here, all from the same era. The whites, which ran from, I believe, 1990 to 97. Then the tie-dye blues, which, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I got this whole idea from your Twitter feed, which is just the best when you get creativity from freaking Twitter. But, Yeah, I got that from your feed when somebody did. I think it was Nets season who did the jersey swap for Kyrie on these tie-dye blue ones.
Yeah.
These are great. They should have ran with these one more year. And then once they stopped those, that's when they ran those other blue ones. So
are you talking about the tie-dye or the...
Yeah, the tie-dye ones.
Okay. So at the time, I think they got a lot of flack for these. Like, if you
Really?
look at, like, any mainstream media type those jerseys in, they're, like, ranked as some of the ugliest. Personally, I think now, since, like, with fashion, I feel like when trends run out, people seem to go back to the vintage ways.
Right.
It might be, like, super marketable now. And honestly, they probably would look really good on that gray court.
Ooh.
Like, like, I feel like that would pop. Like, that would be, like, a nice compliment with the gray. The other one, the first one that you have there, I think those are the ones that the Nets are going to bring back. That's what I'm hearing, that they're going to bring, like, the Drazen era Nets jerseys back. It will be, I believe, 30 years to this upcoming season since they wore these jerseys, right? You said 90, 91?
90, yeah. I think these started in 1990. So, yeah, you're looking at 30 years, which is crazy.
So, yeah, it would be the 30-year anniversary. What I heard is they're bringing something like this back. I think you've been seeing in the shop that they've been marketing a lot of this type of stuff, like the Nets logos from this time, even this print. Like, you see so many Nets fans that are asking for a jersey with the word Nets on it.
Right.
And I think this would pay homage to those times. Obviously, a great Hall of Fame player in Drazen Petrovic. Unfortunately, didn't get to see him, play throughout because of obviously unfortunate circumstances with him passing away. But the Nets did have some good days during those times, and as we saw with the Last Dance, they just weren't able to prevail because there was a mighty being in the NBA during that time. But I think you'll see these back. I think these will be the throwbacks, the city edition that you're going to see this upcoming season. We're
going to the league office with that. We're gonna make the Nets the rightful champions.
Game 1 rigged.
If you had to put these in order, or would you put them all in the same tier?
I like the white better than the blue.
I do too.
Right?
I think that's the right choice. I think I like the white the most. The blue are really solid, but I think that I almost like those ones that we have in the A+ tier. Those blue ones a little bit more. I kind of like the columns almost of blue, personally. But
yeah, there's a little more spunk to them on the original ones.
I agree.
See, like maybe with the blue, it might pop on the gray court more, like I said, with the tie-dye. But I don't really know. I think they're all kind of nice. But, again, the tie-dye could either go one way or the other. I feel like people will either really, really love them or just, like, absolutely hate them like they did. So
I would like them, but that's the most hipster Bushwick thing I've said yet. So don't trust me. I'm around a bunch of vintage-wearing clothes people all the time. So that's all I see every day. So I feel confident putting the white in the A+, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mostly because, I think that anything that is white, I think that's what we saw this year. Even the gray kind of popped this year. But anything that's white really pops on that court. Really, really well.
Yeah.
So, and even those like Bed-Stuy jerseys, which we'll get to, from far away, they weren't bad. If it was when you got close.
We'll touch on that.
I would maybe put these as an A, personally.
I'm with you, yeah.
And then I might put these as a B.
I agree 100%.
All right, cool. They're like a B+, but I didn't want to make 7. Like, that's too extra. We're not doing all that. Yeah. So, this is where you and I at least were really, I'm what, 3 when these jerseys, the last 3 that we've looked at were around. Yeah. You're what, 2 years younger than me, right?
Yep.
So this is right when these start. These next 2 really, the whites and the grays. That's when it all starts for us. That's really when we're, processing everything or understanding what's going on. So the whites and the navies, I'm interested to see which one you like better, because I would love to see one or both of these brought back, but I don't know if we're going to get that.
we're keeping it with the white and navy. We're not going into the gray yet, right?
We'll get into the gray because those came a little later, I believe.
All right. So the white I think is nicer than the navy blue. I love the side. I love the trimming. I think it is supposed to be like represent a net. like I think. I'm not 100% sure. I like the Nets font, even though the S kind of looks like a backward Z. I think those are clean.
Yeah.
And for me, I think also nostalgia kicks in. Like those are the first days of me going to Nets games as a kid. My dad had season tickets when J. Kidd got traded to the Nets. So kind of seeing the bad boy New Jersey Nets come out with J. Kidd, Keith Van Horn, Kerry Kittles wearing the high black socks with those jerseys. Like so many good memories. Obviously them going to the championship and stuff like that. But I think those are so clean. I think that like they did everything with that so perfectly. The red trimming, the sides with the Nets that I'm saying, like I think those are some of the best jerseys in Nets history. I wish they would bring those back actually, because it's going to be 20 years since that team too.
Right.
I brought up the 30-year anniversary. It's going to be 20 years since. So I believe 20 years since either those or the Grays, since that team.
The Grays will be 20 this year, and then these will be like 23, which we can't bring it back on a Jordan year after everything we've seen this week.
Yeah. See, I don't know if like the navy blue. I like those. I don't know if the New Jersey changes it because the font is small. You can't like really make out what it says. I like the white better.
You like the white? I do too. I just don't like the color navy. This is all I'm gonna be offering here is just my input on colors. As stated.
I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't know.
I think that the white. I really like the white. I wish it was like the Z, like the S and the Z is the only negative I can find with this.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
But I could just like I said, like I picture this mental image in my head, like as a kid watching J. Kidd, Keith Van Horn with the high black socks, and then later years you see Vince Carter, like he didn't tuck his jersey in, which would be a fine today or whatever. But like I'm even thinking VC like just dunking in someone's face in those jerseys and the crowd going crazy. Like those I think were the cleanest New Jersey Nets jerseys that they had.
The big question: what do you rate?
Actually, well, second most. We'll get to the clean.
I know where you're going with this. I'm actually interested.
Exactly where I'm going with this.
I'm interested to see what you think of these next two. I'm very very curious. What would you put these as? The white ones, at least.
I'd probably give them an A.
Okay.
The navy blue, like a C.
I think that feels fair to put them in the same class as those first white ones. I think that feels super fair. The navy, the navy I could put, man, we're just going, this is all color based, navies and blues and whites paired together. Would you feel confident at a B? I wish there was a B plus or an A minus now.
yeah, because I don't hate the navy blue jerseys. I think they're still nice. They're just not my favorite New Jersey ones.
Let's get into the big question. Our first of a couple of gray jerseys, a whole bunch actually. The 2000 to 2005 gray alternates. This is the most successful point of the franchise since it moved from ABA, I would say. Yep. That's what I think of, at least seeing this. I mean, where would we not? These are A plus. There's no way.
Without a doubt. And like you said, when Nets season did those mock-ups, how clean they looked on Kyrie.
Yep. These are easy for me.
Yeah, like when the Nets wore these jerseys, it was a special night too. Like there was, something special was going on that night. It just looked so. I don't know. Again, maybe it's nostalgia talking for me, but I just remember like it was rare when they wore them because they were the alternates. But when they did, J. Kidd, Keith Van Horn, like, and then whoever might be like Kerry Kittles running the fast break with these on, like I think of even them at MSG. I think that's when Kidd did the bowling pass. I think he was wearing those jerseys. Just so clean. They have this, again, the side trimmings are so nice. And the thing with these is that, and Doug Barrick also mocked these up for me a couple of years ago, like you could transform these into Brooklyn. Like you could easily turn these into like the Nets colors now without doing too much. Like you can keep the red trim and without like going too far away from their colors now, because they are gray. I mean, they wore gray jerseys this year, and we'll get to that, but I think these are 10 times better than those. I'm going to say these are A plus.
Did you go to playoff games? I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Did you go to playoff games during that
Oh
era?
yeah,
Whole
I was
bunch?
at all those games. I mean, like the most memorable one, I think, I think Reggie Miller hitting that half court shot, my dad turning and saying, "Hey, you're not going to school tomorrow."
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I mean, I was at basically every game. Me and my brother. So what my dad did was he bought season tickets when Kid had gotten traded there.
Right.
Now my dad was a Knicks fan growing up, so there was no bias in my household. It was just more like, "And I want you to learn the game from J Kidd." So me and my brother split the games, and he was right. Like I watched everything number 5 did, and then it turned into, all right, now watch number 31, who was Reggie Miller at the time. Watch him and watch the way he runs off the ball and things like that. So just so many memories. Going down to Continental Airlines Arena when I lived in Queens, like it was a trek going to Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Nice bond with my dad, but also learning the game. Better basketball, the second best basketball in the NBA for a long time.
Right.
2-3 years straight, especially when I was a kid. But you asked me about playoffs. I even remember being at Nets Lakers championship and just, I mean, there was no stopping Shaq. Like as a fan during those days, like you just watched it and it was just so exhausting because the Nets, even at their best, were not beating the Lakers on a mediocre night.
Right.
Like Shaq was just so unstoppable. Jason Collins wasn't stopping him. Darren Williams wasn't stopping him. None of those guys were stopping him. And I loved the A-Train. I loved all those guys, but none of them were getting in the way of Shaq. And then Shaq could just kick it out to Kobe like, just an embarrassment of riches. And
right.
Kobe hitting a dagger 3, Robert Horry hitting a dagger 3, and just absolutely breaking my 7-year-old heart at the time.
Right.
Back into the parking lot, Jersey fans, just like a helpless feeling. But great memories during those days. Again, I could go on for hours about this stuff.
We're going to keep going on. I want to take a little... So this is a great point to stop right here because there's just so much history at this point. When you were watching this team, did you feel like, okay, this, especially those like really early 2000s years, like, did you feel like, okay, this is a championship team, or did you kind of like, was there something in the back of your mind like, oh man, the team coming out west is going to be tough?
I mean, again, like I was still 7 years old, but I did understand the game enough.
Right.
Like I took in everything around me, the sights, the sounds, everything. But like the thing is that I had gone to Knicks games a couple of years, like at a young age, 5-6 years old. I went to Nets games at 5-6 years old when they had Marbury. I was on the court. I remember going for my birthday, and that team was so bad. Like, and it was kind of miserable being at the Meadowlands in the 2000 season, the year before Kid got traded there, because they had this drop off. And if I'm sure you watched episode 7 of The Last Dance when the Nets were in it. That was 98. It was only 2 years after that they really fell off. And you had Marbury, and he was writing things on his sneakers like "Get me out of here" or something like that, and just a vibe. Jason Williams, who was a fan favorite at the time. I have a picture of me sitting on his lap as a kid, and he goes and shoots his limo driver. There are so many memories of that team that were just bad, like that 2000. And then I don't know, like for me again. I enjoyed going to Jersey. As a kid, you getting your face painted. It was like more of a fun atmosphere than the Garden, I think, like for somebody that wanted to watch basketball. And then I remember going the next year, 2001, my dad saying, like, Kid could play, but, don't expect much. Like, they won 26 games the year before. And then I'm there, and they win 52.
Right.
And suddenly he's saying, Ant, we're going to the playoffs. And I said, what the heck is the playoffs?
Yeah.
What is that? And he goes, well, if the Nets lose tonight, it's over. And I remember, and like that immediately when he told me that, that's when I understood, and like it meant so much to me. Like those playoff games, it seemed like the Nets always went to 5 because at the time it was best out of 5.
Right.
It felt like they were always going to 5 or 7, and it was just like that's when you knew just that they made the playoffs and that it was a do or die. Those were the words he used, do or die. That means you win or you're out.
Right.
I remember like saying like this team, I had so much fun watching this team, the camaraderie, uh, like a team full of guys that were underdogs. Like you look at Jay Kidd and Kmart. Kmart was the heart and soul, but he still wasn't a superstar at the time. And then you bring guys up like Kerry Kittles, who wasn't a superstar. He was kind of just a perfect role player. Like a Lucius Harris coming off the bench, just hitting that three. The Keith Van Horns of the world, like again, who weren't superstars. These guys, they molded almost like the perfect team around Jay Kidd. He was the perfect leader, without them being too flashy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they didn't have like any spectacular names. Jason Kidd made so many guys so much money. RJ was a rookie at the time, so nobody really knew what to expect of him, and he emerges and plays great as the third guy on that team, third or fourth guy,
right?
Behind Kittles. I mean, I could go on for days. Like you bring up the A Train, Darren Williams, man, like the guys at the end of the bench too, like Tamar Slay, like just Donnie Marshall. Like I just remember these guys. At the time you open up a game program at a young age and you're just studying. I remember bringing home those game logs. They don't do those anymore.
Right.
Those game catalogs, those meant a lot. Those are souvenirs at the time. And just, again, so many good memories, man. Like, that's history. And those days especially, like, it's such a shame that they're forgotten about. And even the way that things broke up with Jay Kidd, I think at this point it just feels petty. Like it's been 5-6 years since that happened. I think it's time to move on and start embracing that team. Because I think, quite frankly, Matt, like they ran into the Lakers, the Kobe and Shaq Lakers who three-peated, and then they ran into the Spurs and David Robinson's last year, Tim Duncan's, arrival. And then the third year, they almost went to the finals the third straight time, and they lost to the bad boy Pistons that were Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, and them.
Yep.
I think you could argue that the early 2000 Nets are one of the better teams to have not won a championship and not be recognized for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a team that would, like, I guess in the last couple of years that would run into that. I mean, maybe you're looking at, like they're better than the Pacers, the Paul George Pacers or somebody like that. I guess maybe so you could probably do, like, the Thunder with really young Westbrook, Harden, and Durant, or you could do because even they made it to the finals and made it a series. I maybe it would be that Thunder team, but the last 20 years it doesn't get a tougher draw than that, honestly.
Yeah, you know what too? Like the Thunder's a great point. Like they're a great team, but they were a three-headed monster. Like the Nets were just so team oriented, and that's how Kidd wanted to play. Like it wasn't just a three-man show. Like any night could be anyone's night. Like I wrote about Brian Scalabrine the other night.
Yeah.
He was the last guy off the bench, but there were guys like that were coming out and contributing if they had to play.
Yeah.
Their number was called. Jay Kidd was giving them the ball in the right spot. So just like that team-oriented style of ball, like they fit the script. They'll never get love for it. They were never like flashy with the names or anything like that. They were flashy on the court, throwing them alley-oops every 2 seconds. But I don't think they get enough credit for what they did, man. Jay Kidd didn't get enough credit. Kmart did not get enough credit for what he did. He was the heart and soul of the New Jersey Nets during the 2000s, without a doubt.
Well, with Jay Kidd too being a guy, like, I don't know if there's a guy in the league or really in the last couple of years that, I mean, the point guard position changed so much in a lot of ways, but like a guy that makes his teammates that much money.
Right.
I mean, I can't really come up with a comp for it at all.
At this point, like, it's almost like you can't even put it into positions. It's like, what player makes other players around him so much better?
Yeah.
So I think look at like a LeBron, obviously, like, like you tell me, like, I don't really think James Harden makes guys around him much better.
Curry, I think Curry might be my choice.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, without a doubt. But how many guys could you really say that for? You go back and you look at a guy like Magic Johnson, and that's the tier that I put Jay Kidd in, because he had that ability without even having to put the ball in the hoop more than 5 times a game, score 10 points. He can make the whole team better and win the game,
Right.
And on a big stage nonetheless too.
Well, that's the point guards you and I grew up with. Like we grew up with Jay Kidd and Nash, and like that's what I've never really adjusted to that. Like all the guys that I like that are playing point guard, if they can pass, I like them right off the jump. It's not if they can score. I mean, we'll get into like other teams that have more scoring guards in the future of this broadcast, but I mean I just gravitate to that. I love pass first guys. I'm a sucker for that.
I'm totally with you. But it's almost like in that today's day, if you're a point guard that, remember Kid at the time, they called him Ace and Kid because he didn't have a J, right? He came into the NBA. So, nowadays, if you're a point guard that can't stretch the floor, you're almost useless. Like the Rajon Rondos that were successful in Boston. Right. You have that on your team now. If you're one that can't stretch the floor, then you're probably not playing.
Right. Unless you're like freak athlete. But even then, it's like there's going to be moments where it's like, we need you to hit a three. One question for you before we move on. This is kind of hard because I know you're, like 7-ish at this time. But and I know other people are going to hear this. And you probably answered this before. So apologies if it is a question you've heard before. But the highs of that J-Kid era, early 2000s Nets, where do they match up with the team that we have coming in next year? Or is it a different stratosphere? Is it just emotionally or just even thinking about it logistically?
I think, you got to look at J-Kid when he got traded to the Nets. Like he had and still did have issues. He had the, I think it was the domestic assault case against him. Like he was a very, very imperfect human. Like I don't think anybody really saw J-Kid as necessarily the savior, right? Like, we're going to get better, but I don't think nobody in the world expected them to make the championship.
Sure.
Nobody in the world. Like, whereas these Nets, those guys, they didn't have so much expectations on them. Whereas these guys now, you have Kevin Durant. Forget the Achilles injury. You have Kevin Durant. You have Kyrie Irving. Forget the shoulder surgery. You're going to have the highest expectations in the NBA as well as the Lakers with LeBron.
Right.
You're right up there. So the difference here is that, everybody is expecting these Nets to win a championship. And you bet your butt if they don't win a championship, they're going to be heavily scrutinized because they gutted a whole young team that Brooklyn rallied behind.
Right.
Whereas J-Kid Nets, had nothing to lose. Stephon Marbury, and I hate to use this word, but he was a cancer. Yep. He was a cancer to that team. He was a cancer to the organization. They needed to get rid of him. And good for him. He made a living out in China. He's the god over there. But in Jersey, it was just like things were so toxic that they had nothing to lose with that trade. They had nothing. There were no expectations on that team. So it was so beautiful. And I was talking to my dad about this the other day. Like I said, like I don't think we'll ever see a team, especially with the Nets. I don't think you'll ever see a Nets team like that because that was so special. It was almost like magical that they did that. Whereas now, I'm not taking anything away from these guys. Like if they make the championship, they win the championship, it'll be great. But now we're talking about a guy where you have the number one scorer in the NBA on your team, and you have arguably the best point guard in the NBA too. So, and not to mention, you have a pretty solid roster around that with Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen, Joe Harris. Like you're like 7, 8 deep on this team, and that's not to mentioning like the younger guys on the squad and Wilson Chandler, Jones, and guys too. Like this team is deep, and the expectations are so much higher. So, I think there's a huge difference in back then and now just because of the expectations. But to counter that, they were in Jersey. Less people cared about them. Now they're in Brooklyn. They're in New York. A lot more people care about them. They make it to the championship. There's winning basketball at Barclays Center. You're going to see people there, especially while the Knicks are at their low. And not to bring them up. I'm not going to be the Knicks clicks guy. But, look, you build it, they'll come. And that's what you're going to see. It's just unfortunate that it might be another year before we're able to see that.
Yeah, well, it's worth the wait, hopefully.
Absolutely. And look, the anticipation grows. It's just that KD's, first time suiting up as a Net might be a little anticlimactic without fans. But again, the anticipation grows, and people are just going to want to get to the Barclays Center that much more. Yeah, well,
I mean, so many things out of our control, but I just give me 5 games of him at Barclays, just just so we can get him there.
Man. Just no organ in the background, some Biggie playing, some Jay-Z playing, like a nice caught your eyes 444 beat in the background. KD run up the floor. It almost feels like it's not real. Like when you play 2K with him, it's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Like what is this? Is this one of my created teams?
Well, it's funny because when that happened, I was like, this feels like a dream scenario. and everything getting pushed back more and more, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a dream scenario. Like,
Yeah.
like I got way too excited for this for no reason. But no, I think it'll happen, and they have them on it.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I was trying to tell people in April this, and nobody wanted to believe it.
I mean, hey, I believed you for what it's worth.
You did. I appreciate it.
Oh, what's up? The glue guys are in here. What's up, guys? Let's do this next one. This is a very, I think this one splits people. This red 2006 to 2009 kid left, of course, in 2008, I believe. Am I right on that? And then Brooke Lopez was a rookie in, I guess, the last year that they had these. Kind of like a transition, I guess, yeah, like a real transition period for them. Some people love them, and I've seen them in mock-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Jay-Z actually did, because this is when he started to kind of get on board with the Nets. I could be wrong, but I think he helped design these. And I was never a fan of these. I mean, the mock-up that Nets season did, they looked clean.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And no disrespect to Anthony Morrow, but I just think of Anthony Morrow. I think of 12 and 70. I think the red just was pushing it a little too much. But they, again, they might pop on the gray floor, but honestly, nah. This ain't it, Chief.
I think these are a perfect. They're mid. That's what I would call them. So we're gonna give them a C.
Yeah. They're not horrible. Like they're not ugly. They still have the same trim, and the Nets design is obviously okay. It's just I wasn't crazy about them. And I think at the time they were heavily scrutinized too. I don't think fans liked them too much because I think they replaced the gray essentially with these.
Right.
So
that's kind of hard. It's a changing of era too. Like I think all of that plays into it a little bit. Just team success that has to. I mean, that's part of these measurements. Got to play into it a little bit. All right, so we're getting into the Brooklyn stuff. I just picked. They're all like Adidas, Nike. I'm just picking all the same thing. It's pretty much the same throughout. The white and the blacks. We've seen them a million times. Can't go wrong. Personally, I mean. I think that maybe we haven't seen the highest points of it. I look at those. I think of last year's team even much more than this year's team personally. Yeah. But I mean, I think that these next couple of years could shape how we think of them. I've certainly liked other Nets jerseys during this era, but I think they're fine. They're like a B-A to me, both of them.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I didn't like the black and white when they first changed the colors and rebranded, but then they started wearing these, and I think they're A category, both the white and the black. I think they're so clean. I thought when they had the herringbone court, they popped great, like it was perfect. And like if you look at all legendary jerseys, you look at the Bulls jerseys, you look at the Celtics, you look at the Lakers, like there's nothing that's like too like even bringing like the Yankees into it, like there's nothing that's too extraordinary about them. Like it's more the clean factor, like not trying to do too much with them. And for the Nets, it was so unique that they were black and white. It represented the borough, the rebrand, obviously, a whole new chapter in their organization. So, one, I like the design just because they're not trying to do too much with it. I think Brooklyn looks great with the black and white. I wish they would wear these more and own who they are instead of trying to do so much, like having 4 jerseys, wear Bed-Stuy 28 times in a season. Like, it just
graffiti.
like it just like stop trying to be like what you think Brooklyn is and just stick to your brand. Because I thought these were great. Like I thought they were clean. I thought they were fresh. Right. There was nothing wrong with them. And if you give it time instead of trying to, in better terms, like let it grow organically. Like right. Over the years, like then these start to turn out like. These are the first year in Brooklyn. And then 10 years later, you appreciate them a little bit more because now they do have a little history behind them. You have Joe Johnson playing in them. And you have, everyone's going to hate me for saying this, but Darren Williams, like that first year playoff series, it was a lot of fun. Like first year in Brooklyn was a lot of fun. They won 49 games, second most in franchise history. Like I think of those days and I think of good times. I just think since they moved to Brooklyn, they've tried to do so much and just too much when it's just I don't know. These are so clean. I thought that like perfect for the brand. Nothing too extraordinary. No graffiti.
Yeah.
No Bed-Stuy on the front or drawn stars. I don't know, man. I'm gonna get in trouble talking about it.
Jeannie says she's sick of the black and white. So everything we just said,
Oh,
throw it
yeah.
out.
All right.
um,
Sorry, Dawn.
I'm a I'm a man of simplicity. So I like these quite a bit. Everything that I wear has got nothing to it because maybe that's just my personality. I'm just a plain dude.
Now let me ask you something. When you wear jerseys, I mean you're mostly wearing them in the summer, right?
Oh yeah. I'd wear them over. I mean, look, I'm skinny, man. I'm not built like you, so I look like what's a good example? I look like MGK. Like if I wear a like Machine Gun Kelly. All I'm missing is the tattoos, and it's a bad look, man. It's not good. So
you're too hard on yourself, brother.
Bro, there's no gyms even open.
Jersey with pride, damn it.
So I'm a big over the hoodie. That's the move right there. You can do that.
Fair enough.
That's the move.
But you know what? Too, like my point with that was like in the summer you're wearing them like you have a tan, like you're feeling good, like you're in Cali, you know, you're about to go surfing. Look at you, you're feeling good. Like the white, the black, you can't go wrong. And also with that, like rest in peace, Jeffrey Gamblero, but like with these jerseys, like the black and white, they match everything. Black and white sells. You could wear yellow under that, and it'll match your yellow shoe, you know, your yellow Nikes. Like you can wear red under them, and it'll pop. Like, you know, without necessarily making the jerseys pop. I feel like they're so universal, so versatile. Like like honestly, I think they're the perfect NBA jerseys. Without being biased, I think, like I said earlier, like and you said as well, simplicity is sometimes the best option, and that's it. But you know, when you go sleeveless this summer, you're in Cali. If they open the beaches and everything, you know, life, we get a miracle. You're wearing a sleeveless shirt. I
don't know when the next time I'm gonna go to California, bro. I'm about to be out here, no gym, in a jersey. I'll have a sweet farmer's tan. It'll be great. Other thing I like about these, I think it really matches the brand well of the Nets, like the you know, the simple behind the scenes. Blue collar type of feel, like just taking care of business. That's how they got here. They got these two guys. It was not, you know, it was just by working hard and putting the right people in charge, putting Marks in charge, the right coach with Kenny Atkinson, and I think that it represents that as a whole. And taking chances on guys. We'll get into some of the guys that that I think we'll get into as we go through some of these jerseys. But I think it's like it exemplifies that, if anything.
I agree.
So
100%.
Let's do the next one. I have this Christmas jersey.
Oh no.
2012, 2013, Darren Williams. So that's gonna really make people mad.
Cool.
These might be an F. These are.
That's what I was gonna say. This is an F. I get like a chalky feel in my mouth when I look at those jerseys. Like I just like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
They could. I mean, I feel like they had potential. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Nah. Throw them away.
They're bad. So you remember when the gray ones leaked this year? I think it was on Fanatics, and there was like that rough outline cut.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what these look like. Like they made the gray ones better from when they leaked. They look like these.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. 100%.
Like there's nothing to these. It's crazy that they had these, like, you know, making the most of like a white and black jersey, the way they make everything pop. Nothing pops about these. It's pretty bad.
The Christmas jerseys were bad. Like they I don't know why they, like, the biggest basketball day of the year. You're gonna, besides maybe Martin Luther King Day, like, I don't know. They got to do better than
that. We got the Dodger jerseys. These ran from 2013 to 2017. And look, I'm going to say right now, I don't know how high you can rank anything with sleeves. There are very few teams that made the sleeves look good. And it definitely wasn't some of their older players. Like an older Paul Pierce did not make some of these pop. It just didn't really work for me. I don't know. I like, honestly, of any of the sleeve jerseys, I don't even know which ones I like the most. We have 3 of them coming up. We have the Christmas jerseys right here, and then the first Stars and Stripes white jersey. I guess I like the Stars and Stripes just because of what it turned into. But
see, like, I here's my thing. One, I don't like the sleeves.
No,
Two, I love the idea that they embrace the Brooklyn Dodgers.
I do too.
I feel like I've seen mocks of like the white Dodgers with the blue and then the red number.
Right.
I don't know who did it. It might have been Nets season as well. It says Nets, and so basically it's just the same concept, the Brooklyn Dodgers concept, which the Nets actually originally wanted to use. They wanted those colors, and they got denied. So I think they could have done so much with this. Just that color scheme, like the gray and blue, it's just like kind of blah. Like if they were white and like with my point is just they could have done so much more. I think if they modeled the white Brooklyn Dodger jerseys, those could have been some of the cleanest in the NBA. They'd probably still be Brooklyn Nets jerseys if they went with that. I think so many people would have bought them. And a lot of people bought these too. I think a lot of people still do like these just because they do have the Brooklyn Dodger feel and people appreciate that.
Well, what would you order these? These be the Christmas jerseys once again. I mean, I might just have to automatically throw these in a D or an F. Are these?
Yeah. That's like that look like pajamas. Like I feel like. I love the Stars ones if they just didn't have the sleeves.
Yeah.
On. Those might have been the best jerseys since they moved to Brooklyn if they didn't have the sleeves. So I'll give them a C.
I could go C.
They pay homage to the ABA days, the ones that we have in the A category, the Dr. J days. They have the stars on the side, and then they had 2 stars on the shorts. But they just turned them into black and white. Yes. And again, they're one of 2 jerseys that actually just said Nets on them. So I kind of appreciated them just for that, but the sleeves just killed them. Like it made them so ugly. But you take the sleeves off, those are clean jerseys.
I think I could put these as a D. I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I love the idea behind them. I don't love the execution in a way. I just but I really like the idea of the Dodgers.
A for effort, D for.
That's gonna be my my LinkedIn bio soon. These aren't even worn. I just threw these in here. I know these weren't worn.
I've seen. I think they were like mock-up.
They were
maybe just AliExpress.
I think are these? I thought they were like they released them for every single team and they never actually got worn. I just threw them in here for fun. So
I mean, those are getting net from me.
No,
those.
I'll put them.
What do you think?
I don't hate them, but I also like looking at those jerseys that year. I'm trying to remember if that was a good year of Christmas ball. I also think I'm like a little biased to that year of Christmas ball. I think they're fine. They might even be a C for me, but I don't want to put them in the same category as like where other jerseys that have actually have memories in them. So, but
all right, Brooks,
you're hating it because we have another one at the very end.
That font is I don't even know, man. I don't know. I'm glad they didn't run with those.
That's what you're gonna see me in next summer. These Christmas jerseys, you're gonna be like, "What are you wearing, man?"
I don't even know what it says. Nets. It looks like I can't even see. Like the font is just so awkward.
You're a font guy. This is big font guy.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna need you to help me with.
Right there, big font guy, right here.
I'm gonna need you to help me out. I'm doing all this social content now. I'm like, there's a lot of fonts on these. That's what I'm realizing. I'm like, this is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do the stars and the stripes, the second ones.
A+.
I think they're an A+. I really do.
Like really, yeah. The original Nets jerseys really were top notch, but I think these are right with the black Puccio. I think these are probably the best jerseys since they moved to Brooklyn. I like just everything about them. Again, they pay homage to the away New York Nets jerseys. So instead of that red stripe, they have a black stripe. You have the white and black stars on the side. And it's a jersey that says Nets on it. For God's sake, the team name. Oh, my God. We're going to put that team name on our jersey. It's like a miracle. But, no, those are so clean. I think those look so nice. They maybe played like 5 games in them.
Year one, technically, of Kenny Atkinson, Joe Harris, Dinwiddie, I believe. Right? I think timeline lines up. I believe. Am I right about that? This is where I'm looking real suspect as a Nets reporter.
I think they wore these when Jeremy Lin and Brooke Lopez were still on the team.
So these didn't cross over?
I don't think so. I think they only lasted 1 year. They won 8 times. Yeah, Jeremy Lin and Brooke Lopez. That was a team that wore them. And the same thing with the sleeve star jerseys as well.
Okay, so not exactly a storied time necessarily, but I think if they won't bring these back because they just wore them, but
I wish they would. These are sick remix jerseys. I remember because Complex released these. Like the Nets didn't. It was Complex that had their hands on it. Like the Nets made them their own version of it. And I remember writing the article on Nets Daily and just saying like, wow, they finally brought one out of the bag here. They abandoned it.
I like them a lot better than these next jerseys. I'm interested to see what you think of these, because they should. So I'll zoom in on these. You first off, the thing that's a problem. We talked about this on the Glue Guys stream last week. You couldn't see the bridge cables. That's the issue. So that's the whole concept of this. It looks like when a player's last name is too long for. It's like
Chris Douglas Roberts.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, that's just a huge negative. That's like it aesthetically looking at that. That's weird. The fact that you can't even see what the concept is. It just looks like they ran out of space. As a font guy,
I don't know, man. I hated these when they came out. Now, I did an interview with Fabulous because he was endorsing them the night that they wore them. So he was walking around with that jersey, showing all the kids and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now Fab has got in this video, he's got swag. He's got a gold-plated long sleeve. So it kind of looked nice at the time, but oh my God, those are horrible.
See, the problem is we have to picture these on me. Someone said you need a haircut in the chat, so you got a picture of me right now, ears red, haven't seen sun in 2 months. Like that's what we got to do. These would not look good right now.
They kind of just look like those jerseys when you walk into like a sketchy store and like they're supposed to be like mock the real thing. I don't know who came up with this idea. This is bad.
These are like the Canal Street editions. All right,
You know what though, Matt? I'll say this: like the Dodger jerseys, like I think it was cool that they tried to do something with Brooklyn Bridge. They just didn't execute it. Like you see, like the side white part, like that's kind of cool. But otherwise, like you said, you can't even see the wiring for that represents the Brooklyn Bridge. Like.
If you could see it, I think this would be a different story. Now I can see from their end of being like you don't want to make it too visible because then I don't even know if you could read the font, especially if it's like curved like that. Like it might overlap, but that I don't know. I think these are. We don't have many in the B, and for good reason. Are these? These might be a D for me. I don't know. A D, C.
I think they're D's. Yeah, and like I think if you remember correctly, the Indiana Pacers had one kind of similar, but instead of like going around, like they did Indiana and then Pacers on the bottom. Like they probably would have been better suited if they put Brooklyn on the top like that,
right?
And Nets underneath. I think the black and white they could do something with the pinstripes too, and they just they failed at it. Like they just.
I hope they bring it back. That'd be interesting to try to do a little bit with the stripes, because pinstripes.
I would love the pinstripes. And you know what too? Like you have a connection to the Yankees on Yes. So like like the two organizations do kind of I don't know, coincide with one another. So you can kind of do something with that.
Big ideas here on this stream. There we go. Straight off the dome. Let's do I guess what these are just the gray alternates. I'm not even sure what these are called. With the stars down the side.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when they wore these. I saw them listed, and I'm like, I don't even remember.
I think Damari Carroll's first year.
Yeah, right? I just don't remember these being worn.
Was that Kenny's first or second year?
Year 2, I want to say. Or is that...
I think, man, because they kind of look like the remix jerseys that I was talking about with that Jeremy Lin wore. So I don't. Yeah, maybe the first or second year with Kenny. I just don't. I like them. I just don't like the BKLY.
I was gonna say that's the problem with it. That's the problem.
What the heck is
Yeah.
like,
I don't like that. I don't know. I think there's a million abbreviations for Brooklyn. I've seen BK. I've seen BKN. I don't know BKLYN. Like I don't know that. I don't know if I've necessarily seen that.
nah, I'm not with that.
Is it a C level?
Maybe they could go in the B category because like
Spruce it up.
like
But
because
with
the design isn't bad. The design isn't bad. It's just it's the BKL wine that just destroys it.
See, I think they're better than the red ones, so that makes me want to put them in the same category as the navies. But I don't know, like in the same categories as those blues. I'm like, now I'm high on the blues as
Yeah,
well.
right. Yeah, the blues are definitely better than that.
This is where I should have made another category.
I love the stars on the side. I love the homage to kind of like the ABA days with the BKLY. Can't stand it.
I'm gonna throw these.
I'm letting you're deciding this one. I just don't know anybody from Brooklyn, including my entire family who's lived there for the last, Lord knows how long, 60 years, that would ever say, like, if they saw those jerseys, like, BKLY, what the heck is that?
Never, yeah. I think I'm going to drop it for that. I think I have to.
Thank you.
We have another one coming up with BKLYN.
Oh, God.
But let's do these, the Coogis, the black and Coogi print, or whatever they call them, Brooklyn camo.
Yeah. Be careful.
We got to be careful here.
Brooklyn camo.
You
know where I'm going with this. I think you're gonna agree. Yeah, those are so perfect. Those are so Brooklyn. Like they don't say Bed-Stuy on them. They're black. They got the Coogi trim. Nothing over the top like Biggie. You're not pimping Biggie out so much. Like it's just
subtle.
Like, and you again, like these are another another kit that you could kind of wear anything underneath. Now you remember like D'Lo wearing them with the swaggy sleeves, like everything looked good. The socks looked sick. Like the Coogi, the Brooklyn camo trim is so nice. It's just like and the black with it, I think was perfect. And it actually said Brooklyn on it.
Yeah, I know, which is the nice part. That's the biggest differentiator from some of these other ones. Is like I like it because they're trying something different. But they're keeping that same simplistic branding. It doesn't feel like it's in your face or anything like that. I mean, these could be my favorite jerseys, period, of the last 5 years.
Honestly, I think these are probably my favorite jerseys in the NBA.
I agree.
Maybe like the Heat, like the Vice City jerseys, those are clean. But I think these are probably my favorite jerseys in the NBA. I think it's perfect, like you said.
The Heat ones are really good. The Prince. And some of those Prince jerseys that Minnesota did were pretty good. We talked about.
You're a Minnesota guy.
Yeah, I got to throw a Minnesota a little.
I like those.
Really? Oh man, I liked those. We did. Yeah, we talked about those a little bit last week, and there's some good ones. But I actually think I like these a little bit better, just because part of it's that you and I see them all the time, so we've seen them worn not just on the court, but like with different fits and everything like that. So I've seen that they're versatile. Like you can see these everywhere. It's it's a staple, and it really is.
They're like kind of like the original black ones too, just with a different trimming on the side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they took a chance, but they kept it home. They stayed home with what the general feel is. So,
and they look better on. Like I like the old court better, just because everything popped more. It's not that the new court is bad. It's just like when you saw the Vancouver Grizzlies come into Brooklyn, and they had their throwback teal jerseys, like you could see them so much more. And I'll get to that point, I guess, with the next BKLY and jerseys when we get to them.
I also will say, for people that have only been here since the Brooklyn era, I'm just going to call myself out too, the part, this is so far like the most memorable, I think, team that we've seen yet. And that's going to change, but I would, at least from what we're seeing right now, just the general feeling of last year's team, that's just like, you can't beat it,
You're talking about the D-Lo you're talking about, not the without a doubt. I mean, only a first round exit team, but just the camaraderie, the players, they were such a likable team. 100%. Yes, right on the money.
That stretch of basketball from December to April was like nothing else. And they barely finished over 500. It's crazy.
Yeah. But they were what? I don't even. I forget at the time, but they won 20 out of 25.
Right. They were on a like 52, 55-ish win pace for a little while there. I remember doing numbers and stuff that's like from way back, and just it was crazy. It was crazy when it was happening.
I think of D'Lo and when he hits that game winner against the Lakers, like the redemption jerseys, like that image in my head. Like now, if you rewatch that video, the pictures will show you that D'Lo is pointing like that. But D'Lo is pointing with his middle finger at his vein when he first hits that shot. And that's the real image that you want. And you have Luke Walton in the background. I mean, like that's the image I have in my head is like that was a badass, like gritty team, you know, not to curse NSFW on here, but like that was like that image is like stuck in my head with those jerseys. So I agree with you. And
it's the perfect like it just encapsulates that moment of this guy's, you know, thrown out by the Lakers. They're talking about his leadership and all this stuff, talking about a guy that plays his position. They're like, oh yeah, we believe in him way more. So
right.
It's just a big moment. And
he proved everybody wrong. Like it was the ultimate redemption story. Like this kid, you know, again, one man's garbage is another man's treasure, you know, and the Nets, like everything that they were about, their culture, Kenny Atkinson developing players and turning them, like maturing them, like Sean March's way of making sure that they had high character individuals. Like I really felt like D'Lo and the boys, like they grew up together, like they were friends off the court. Like it encapsulates, like you said, everything that team was about, everything that the organization was about, and you know at the time what they preached, the culture was about. You know, I can't really say the same right now because I'm not really sure what the culture is. You know, it's superstar culture now, but you know, they're fun days because, as you know, when you're coming up with anything in life, I think that's the most fun part.
Yeah.
I think you obviously when you see success, the triumph feels great, but like when you're on that roller coaster ride up and the suspense is building and building, that's when things are like really, really fun. So, you know, long live the 18-19 Nets.
I know. I feel like I'm gonna be telling, you know, generations about this team that went 42-40. And like, what's the big deal about this team?
Hey man, they're the team that blasted them off into the stratosphere. Like they deserve all the credit in the world because the Nets would not be in the position that they're in today.
It's funny watching that team even now. Like I watched the Kings game and like I felt that. Well, one, I felt how tired. I just retroactively I was like, man, I already remember how tired I was watching this game, being like, what is going on? Like, are they really coming back? And I'm like, they're just gonna keep me up for no reason. And then it just like is the most. I mean, that performance is timeless. Like it really is.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, like I said about the J Kidd days. Like I don't know how you replicate like a team like that. It's just like a team like last year where it's just again everybody's against them. They're projected to win like 33 games.
Yeah.
You know, and they just completely surprise everybody. They go against the Sixers in the first round and they put up a dogfight. I tell you what, like that game 4 in Brooklyn could have went a totally different way. They blew that game.
Right.
And we're talking about a 2-2 series going back to Philly. Embiid throws a flagrant bow to Jared Allen in game 2? Game 2? Yeah, because that's what started the whole issues with Jared Dudley and Ben Simmons and stuff. He should have gotten kicked out that game. Man, I was behind the hoop in Philly at that time, like in the media section. I thought Jared Allen was knocked out. You know, and so you see, not to play this game, the Sixers were going to win that series.
Right.
But the Nets really did put up a fight, and that was just the team that they were. It was so much fun to watch.
Well, that series is way closer than you'll look at. Like, if you look at some of the other 5-game series, like you could use the Magic Raptors. I watched that whole playoffs religiously. The first round was terrible, but you watch that series and like, you know, that's a completely different series. Like there was no contest past game 1, which is really a fluke DJ Augustine 3. You know, that should have been a sweep. And if you look at it, you know, back at it in time, you say, oh, well, you know, the lower seed won game 1 and then they just got, you know, they lost every game after that. And that's not the case at all. Like this really felt like there was real gravity and two competing styles. This fast Nets team that shoots a lot of threes and this giant ball, for lack of a better term, rough old school Sixers team. So We can't
And then
forget Jared Dudley.
of course, yeah. Like there was so much like extracurricular activity in that series too. Like the missing Ben Simmons poster, like the fight in Game 4. Like I felt like not to like make it sound like the Malice at the Palace, but like when they got into that fight in Brooklyn, being right there, like
Yeah,
it almost felt like all of Brooklyn was ready to jump in, just because it was just like everybody like it was like a ride or die with
right.
that team, man. Like it was just there's so much other stuff going on. Then we go back to Philly for Game 5. I'm there, I'm on the court, like, and I'm recording the reactions when they Jared Dudley started that game, and
Yeah.
They built up that moment. Like the PA announcer was so good in Philly. Like he knew he's gonna put Jared Dudley at the first,
Right.
like and let it wait. Like he let the fans like go crazy when they announced Dudley's name. Then they'd say the next name, starting at shooting guard Joe Harris, and then everybody would yell "sucks."
Right.
Like it was so what an experience. And I think like for the young Nets that still are on the team now and are in a championship position, like Karis LeVert and those guys, Dinwiddie, an experience like that, Jared Allen, that definitely toughens them up. And for them to go win in Game 1 and take one in a hostile environment like that, like I tip my hat to those guys, and I think it's going to make them better players for when they do step on the court with KD and Kyrie. Yeah. If they step on the court with KD and Kyrie.
Well, you know what? Fingers crossed. We're living in a world of cautious optimism right now. Best you can do with just about everything.
Everything hypothetical at this point.
Let's leave these happy times, and we're gonna get into this. So when this jersey first came out, this gray Brooklyn, these are what, the City edition. Or the Statement Edition jerseys. Yeah. I always get those two mixed up. Statement, City Edition. I don't even know what the difference is for all these titles. Nike's just making money. That's pretty much what I'm seeing. Yeah. So no, these came out. People, at least at first, really didn't like them. Really, really didn't like them. From at least what I saw, that may be different from what you saw. The reactions were kind of mixed, and this is when I knew, we're in a new era. Like all the expectations, they're suddenly up. People are expecting the best possible jerseys on these two, one, but eventually two guys. That's when I knew. I was like, because when you actually saw these on the court and you even saw them, I remember the practice at the park, you see Kyrie and KD in these, and you're like, I kind of like how they look, but the font's the only problem, and the BKLYN, that's it. But I would have liked them.
I don't know if the Brooklyn Nets, if DeAndre Jordan went on Wild and Out, maybe they'd look good. I mean, I'm sorry, Matt. I just, with the gray court and these jerseys playing on them, like it just looks like watching it on TV. Like they just it's almost like they took the colors out of the TV and you're watching on black and white until you see the other team running down the court. Like I don't hate these. Like I wouldn't put them too low. Like I'd probably put them in the B category because they're not that bad. I hate the font. I hate the BKLYN. I think they look cartoonish. Like I honestly, when like you said, when they first came out, I thought it was a joke. Like I was like, I'm not trying to like make anyone look bad, like I'm not trying to call anyone out because I know there's a designer that worked really hard on these, but I think they just try so hard to like just to appeal to Brooklyn.
Yep.
Brooklyn, they're hardworking people. They're simple people. They're usually good people. They don't take no stuff. They don't take no crap. It just shows me like they're just trying to do too much. Same with the court. Like I just felt like they were just trying to do too much with that. The court that they had was like unique in its own way. The herringbone and its style, it just popped. You could see everything. The lighting on the court was so much better. I don't like the way they did these and the new court. It didn't do it for me. Like I thought they failed majorly with these, especially, like you said, Nike is going to make all this money. You come out with a statement jersey, you come out with a City Edition jersey, so you're basically coming up with an excuse to make more jerseys. Come on, man. Like at least ask your fans like what we kind of do. Yeah. Like what I like to do is like throw polls up. Like what do you like? Like I feel like the Nets have failed so bad at that, at connecting to the fan base and actually seeing what they want and kind of thinking, this is it. This is Brooklyn. This ain't Brooklyn, baby. Yeah. Like I'm just going to tell you right now, personally, at the practice in the park, they kind of look cool because like you said, like the font is graffiti, and they were playing on blacktop though.
The other thing is you could have put any jerseys on those guys, and I think that would have jumped it up a level because that's the first thing you see these guys in. So if you look at it, like objectively, I'd never got used to the font, but that's the only thing I can give them is that it's a fond memory. It's like a real, like, oh my God, these guys are actually, there for, really in Brooklyn for most people. So, but that's it.
The stars kind of look like, I don't know. I wouldn't mind them like if they were maybe like at the bottom of the jersey, like on maybe like as just like a little thing off to the side. But I don't like the stars.
Yep.
Another thing too, Matt, is like something that I wanted to bring up is, Kevin Durant, when he signed with the Nets and he posted a picture on Instagram, it was in those black Coogee jerseys, and they ditched them and they come out with these and white bits. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Good point.
Those jerseys would have been the number one selling jerseys in the NBA this year,
100%.
whether he played or not. And they just you couldn't buy it. You couldn't buy a Kevin Durant black Brooklyn camo jersey because you wanted to just like I don't know. You just were trying to do too much with it. Like it made no sense to me. Like what do you think KD's thinking? Like he posts that picture and then it's like, oh, these fans can't get them unless they're fake.
Right.
I don't know. It just. Doing too much.
That's a good point because I think that is a detriment almost. Like the idea of that because of what they're following up, that almost kind of hurts them, even though it is the first thing we saw in Durant. Actually, that's a really good point. I might really drop those. I actually might even think I was thinking like a C level jersey, but I even like those other BKLYN ones a little bit better. I like the red ones a little bit. Are they a D level? Is that too harsh? Does it feel like we're being too harsh here?
No, me personally, no. Like I said, I think if the Nets went on Wild and Out, I think you may have to move that number 11 Lopez to F though, man. Because these BKLYN ones aren't that bad. No, the red ones are good. The
Which
ones that are in the D, the black and white. I think. Oh my God, those are.
This one?
Yeah, I almost feel like those the gray ones are bad, but they're not like on that tier.
Bro, I can't believe you're disrespecting my summer style.
Sorry,
I'm gonna be wearing these Christmas jerseys every day. All right, we'll drop them. Just to make things easier, we're gonna move it there. I gotta appease the guest, So if we're putting the gray ones as a D, what do we do with the Bed-Stuys? The famous, infamous Bed-Stuys.
The yellow is going to F. The yellow, I don't know what the heck is going on.
That's the opening day jerseys next year.
Oh my God.
If they're in Disney World, it's kind of a good, big Disney World vibes right there.
Yeah, right. All right. Yeah.
No, I'll put them in an F. I'm kidding. These are going right here.
So the white, my beef with these. So when I talked to some of the people that made the jerseys and some of the equipment managers, first they were showing me that the side trim was thicker. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if people were able to notice that on TV, but I thought that was cool. I was like, all right, like so the Coogee, the Brooklyn camo pops more.
Yep.
I thought the white was great.
Yes.
But then I saw Bed-Stuy. And look, I get it. It's a Biggie Smalls jersey. But Biggie, I bet if he was around today, he would say, I'd want you to put Brooklyn on it. 1, 2, the Nets have no affiliation with Bed-Stuy. They don't play in Bed-Stuy. How about Mill Basin? How about Park Slope? How about like it's almost just like because again, like I have so many family members that live in Brooklyn, right. And they're like the jerseys are dope, but I live in Mill Basin. I'm not gonna wear a jersey that says Bed-Stuy.
People in Bed-Stuy aren't gonna wear jerseys with Bed-Stuy on it. I don't think people in Bed-Stuy would wear this jersey even.
Like, it's like I guess maybe if you're like a huge Biggie fan, but like I love the jerseys, love the trim, love the concept, hate the Bed-Stuy. Like It's just like why didn't you just write Brooklyn on it?
Yep.
Like if you remember the black ones, they said Bed-Stuy at the bottom. They said Bed-Stuy at that bottom trim on the tag. And that was cool. Like so you knew it was a Biggie tribute, but they just tried to do way too much with that and they ruined the great jersey.
I wonder if this will be it with the Coogee or the I'm never gonna get that right. The Brooklyn camo, like if that'll be it. These are gonna be the last ones with it, or if they're gonna. Not. I hope they would bring these back next year. Like it seems like they're gonna do the throwbacks, which is sweet. But If they ever do like the white or the black camo, and they do it right, they do the way those black ones look.
They got to get those black camels back. They gotta have KD and Kyrie rocking those.
Yeah.
You know, those are just too clean. Even these, just change it to Brooklyn. It was just so simple. It was so simple.
Don's saying that everybody in Bed-Stuy bought them, so prove me wrong. I live 10 minutes away. I don't even know.
All I'm saying is, Doug, if it says Brooklyn on it, those are probably top sellers.
Yep.
Bed-Stuy, if you're a global fan, if you're in the UK or Australia, what is a Bed-Stuy? You know, like,
yeah.
Even if you're not from New York, like, you're probably like, what's Bed-Stuy?
Yep.
You know, like again, unless you're a diehard Biggie fan or Jay-Z fan, like, you probably don't know even what Bed-Stuy is. They don't play there. They don't practice there. They don't do anything there. Just ruined again a good idea. Ruined a good thing. I'd probably put them maybe in the B category.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that because I do like the print. And I think that it's an idea and it's really close. Like some of these other ones that are in these lower categories, I mean, I just don't know off the jump if like even the idea was there, but this is like a good idea. I mean, so let's say they had the regular Brooklyn. Would you like those or the black jerseys a little bit better?
What?
If these Bed-Stuy ones were just said Brooklyn with the normal print that were on the black Brooklyn camo jerseys?
I think I like the black more still. I just think the black is so, like, I think it's perfect. I think it's like the perfect NBA jersey for a Brooklyn team. I think that's like, it doesn't get any better than that.
Either way is a good option. I think I'd agree. The white would be interesting. I'd be curious to see what pops a little bit more on that flooring. That's all because those white ones, they popped. Like they really popped. This year.
Yeah, you're right about that. They did pop better on the gray floor.
And I like that you could see the print. I mean, that's part of by design, but you can really see the print, and that showed up on TV this year. So
I'm cool with either or. I don't know what the Brooklyn looks like on the white. You know?
We'll never know. Hopefully, maybe we will. I don't know. We'll have to do this in 5 years, and maybe they bring him back. Looks like we did everything. We'll kind of go through the top row.
What about these jerseys, man?
Oh, those would be.
Where are the Swamp Dragon jerseys?
A++. We got to do it. They make Game of Zones. Like, we got to do it.
Mitchell and Ness should have been all over that. Man.
I know. That's a whiff by everybody. But
I mean, I feel like that. The Nets, even like I wrote it when I wrote the Game of Zones piece on Nets Daily, like, how cool would it be if like they did like a Swamp Dragons night and just for one day, for one game, just wore Swamp Dragons jersey. You know, like it would be kind of cool, like just as a joke, like April Fool's Day, like you know, we're the Swamp Dragons for the night. Like just I don't know. I feel like you'd probably sell a ridiculous amount of jerseys and you make a lot of people happy.
Do teams do that? One game jerseys? I'm trying to think of in the past. I mean, other than the Christmas Day ones, which. If it's on Christmas Day, I don't want to see them try to do the Swamp Dragons because Christmas Day jerseys never turn out well.
No.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a concept they could probably do. I don't see why the NBA would have a problem with that, especially if it's going to sell like that. You know, you have a day where the swag shop is what's it called? Is filled with those with apparel like that, the starter jackets and stuff like that. Man.
That's how they make this money. They got new fans, old fans. I think there's certain ways to bring in new fans and also make sure that they honor those roots, those New Jersey roots. And I think that, you know, that's definitely the way to do it. Or just make really, really clean jerseys. That helps too. That trumps everything.
I'm with you. Just a jersey that says Nets on it would be nice for the fans. See how much they care about that. Like, and that's why I say I think the Nets have failed so badly at actually like connecting with their fan base and seeing what they actually want. I'm not here to kill the Nets, but like, you know, we go through like, I don't know, 12, 13 jerseys since they moved to Brooklyn, and none of them have really stayed, you know, like, and how long have fans been asking for a throwback? You know, it took 8 years. They're going to get them next year.
Right.
It took 8 years and new ownership to realize that maybe we should pay homage. I think they could have done so much better. I think they've done a great job with some of these jerseys. Obviously, you look at the A category, A plus and A category. We have 4 jerseys from Brooklyn there. You know, like they have done a good job. It's just ask the fans what they want. Like connect with the fans more, and you'll sell more.
And I think the other thing you'll see is that simplicity seems to be what really works. Even some of those older ones, I guess, outside of the tie-dye ones, though the tie-dye ones, I think part of that's just the era. Like, that stuff just would pop, I think, in a lot of ways. But for the most part, really simple stuff. Fonts are very big. This is the font stream.
Yep.
You know, and honor the colors and you know, and keep it simple. It's a very... There's ways to do this.
It doesn't have to be BKLY. Yeah. And Brooklyn and Nets is enough. You know, like that's just stick to that. Stick to your guns. Stick to who you are. Be proud of who you are. You know, they kind of like tried to brush the Nets name off. I know they contemplated on even keeping it. And look, I understand it when you're rebranding. Like look, you know, it's totally understandable. But at this point, you know, you're the Brooklyn Nets. Be proud of who you are. Your history isn't that bad, and you do have a fan base from Jersey, from New York and Long Island. Like, you know, and there still are plenty of people that care about those teams. You look at someone like myself. We grew up. Me, Kyrie Irving. We were in those stands at the Meadowlands, and we grew up. You know, and they're a big part of your fan base now, and they're only 15, 20 miles away in Jersey. It's not like, and I keep saying this, but it's not Seattle to OKC. It's not Vancouver to Memphis. It's Jersey to Brooklyn. Like, just give the fans what they want, man. Just stop trying to do too much. Stop trying to be gentrified, Brooklyn. Just be simple, like you said.
Don't be Matt Brooks. Transplants.
Don't be Matt Brooks. Be simple. Be simple, baby.
Pooch, I appreciate you for doing this. I want to let you plug away. You got many things to plug. Not that my little simple plug will do much for you, but
I don't even know. I got a new episode on the Brooklyn Way podcast tonight. If anybody's around and wants to check that out. You know, I do the Periscopes. You know where to find me on Twitter, on Instagram, anything like that. It's just a Pooch. You know, anybody obviously wants to talk Nets, talk life, whatever it might be. I know this is a tough time for everybody, but it's things like this that we got to stick together, keep talking, stay mentally strong, physically strong. I hope everybody stays safe. Nurses, doctors, everybody out there, I want to thank them. Matt, obviously, I want to thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure talking with you. And I'm glad that we finally did something like this.
Yeah, I'm happy. We played a little bit into everything. Try to do something fun, something light. You know, we don't need to do fake trades, coaching search every day. Let's just do something light.
Like you always say, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. A little Jersey discussion, something light. Pooch, I appreciate you for coming on. I'll see you around. We're both around, here to chat, and it is what it is. But
we'll do it again.
Sounds good. My man, good to have you on. I will be checking that podcast. Everybody should do so as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks, Matt. And thanks, everybody, for watching.